This is my retro review of the Nike Hypervenom Phantom and why I wouldn't wear it over any of Nike's current football boots. Now, the Hypervenom was first launched back in 2013 and was worn by the likes of Wayne Rooney, Harry Kane, Robert Lewandowski, and of course, Neymar. The Hypervenom replaced the Total 90 series and was Nike's first ever agility boot. And even though the Hypervenom doesn't exist anymore, it's still regarded as one of Nike's best football boots of all time. Now, the most striking thing about the boot, of course, is the upper, which Nike called Nike Skin. It's extremely soft and pliable, and this kind of 3D snake skin-like texturing that you see is meant to help enhance the grip on the ball. The boot also has this internal agility cage, which is meant to provide stability and lockdown. Now, I'm not really sure you can tell just by looking at them, but the lacing system, of course, you can see is asymmetrical, but it's a bit higher up, and that's because Nike wanted to kind of increase the vamp, so when you're striking and taking a touch on the ball, you have like a bigger surface area when doing so. The sole plate was actually very unique as well. You have this kind of split toe design, which is meant to make the boot a bit more flexible and responsive. And then you can see from the sole plate, you've got a mixture of round conical stud and a few blades, and that's to help with traction as well as aid mobility. Now, in terms of comfort, these boots, they do a very good job. They're very comfortable on feet, and like it's very plush as well. And I think that's mainly because the upper, like I said, it's plush, it's very soft, flexible, and it just shapes to the form of your feet very, very well. The upper is so soft, you can actually kind of really flex your toes while your feet are inside the boots. And honestly, if you're someone who has wide feet, these boots, if you have a pair or if you're looking to get a pair, or if you had a pair back then, these are honestly a dream if you have wide feet. Now, like I said again, just to reiterate how comfortable the boot is, I have like no hot spots in terms of irritation with these boots ever when I owned them back in 2013 when they first launched. And the other two pairs that I've shown you in this video as well, no issues whatsoever in terms of comfort with these boots. Now, in terms of fit, this is where it kind of gets a bit interesting with this boot. So in terms of going true to size, yeah, I definitely reckon I went 9.5 UK, and yeah, pretty much perfect for my feet. And then just the overall shape of the boot, it forms to your feet very well. However, because of how soft and flexible this upper is, it's almost too, well, not even almost, it is to this boot's detriment, because the lockdown in these boots is terrible. Now, initially when you put them on, it feels okay, but as you play in these boots in a match, the fit gets a bit sloppier and it just feels awful in terms of like lockdown. Like I said before, when I said meant with the internal agility cage, it really doesn't do much in terms of providing stability. Your feet never really feel secure while you're wearing them, and the fit, like I said, it gets sloppier, and it's almost like you're dragging your feet while you're playing in these boots at times. It's like almost like overly stretched leather. That's probably like one of the best ways I can actually describe the fit and just how it feels after you played in them for a while. Now you can see I've got two outsole variants of the boots. I've got the FG and I've got the SG. And for the most part, the outsole is actually quite good. Now, the split toe design actually does work in my opinion. You can feel like the boot's a bit more flexible. You feel mobile all the time while you're wearing these. And like, yeah, you feel very like sharp on your feet. In terms of responsiveness, these do a decent enough job. My only kind of gripe with maybe the sole plate, I say, is like, I wish it was a bit snappier, a bit more feedback. I like that kind of extra kick, but that's just me as a kind of personal preference. That's not for everyone. Now, feel for the ball is another strange one because, not to be disrespectful to anyone, but I would say the feel for the ball in these is a bit bipolar. Because of the heavy texturing on the upper, because of the Nike skin, you get a decent amount of grip when you're striking, dribbling, passing, all that's great. But because of how soft the upper is and how sloppy it feels after you've worn them for a while, the boot doesn't, well, the feel for the ball doesn't really feel as responsive as it could be. It's like it's not like a barefoot feel, it's more like a rubber sensation. You don't really necessarily feel the ball too much, or as much as maybe you could if the boot had a bit more structure to it. And again, that's just to the detriment of the boot of how soft the upper is. Now, in terms of performance, I've owned the Hypervenom 3 times. So I've owned this pair twice, and I've got this World Cup colorway as well. And honestly, I can say I would not wear this over any of Nike's current boots. So that's the Vapor 15, Superfly 9, I want to say, the Tiempo 10, the GX Luna 2. I would wear all of those over these in a heartbeat. And that's all just down to how the boots feel on my feet. I prefer something that's a bit more responsive, that wraps and fits my feet much better, and all of those current Nike boots do a much better job than the Hypervenom does. Now, it sounds crazy to say because of how many people just love the Hypervenom, but with this boot, I think a lot of people look at them with rose tinted glasses. And I think that's largely down because of how good the marketing for this boot was when it first came out, and also the marketing when it comes to Neymar, especially that version of Neymar that we got. He was phenomenal when he was at Barcelona and he was wearing these. So the same way we've kind of seen recently with Trent and Bellingham in the new Predator, they just hit the ground running, and that's just to the uphold of the boots. And in terms of marketing, they're just going to be a lot more popular. But I feel if these boots did not come out in 2013 and they came out now as opposed to then, without the kind of same marketing push, people would think these are awful. Now, based on all I said, does that make the Hypervenom a bad boot? Absolutely not. Number one, it's my opinion, my feet, it's going to be different to yours, that's perfectly fine. And number two, the boot came out, 11 years ago now. So now I like to use an analogy that I use a lot. So let's take like a Nokia brick phone. When that first came out, it was a great innovation. It worked wonders for a lot of people. But say that brick phone came out now instead of back then, with all the kind of technology that we have now, people think like, what on earth is this? This is terrible. It's almost like similar with the Hypervenom here, right? As time goes on, the design and the materials and all this kind of technology that goes into boots, it improves and gets better, and that's what the case was, or the case is with the Hypervenom, in my opinion. I'd rather wear any of Nike's current boots over this, but in terms of I'd say marketing and just uniqueness, this does a better job than that. But the most important thing is that you're having a good product and your performance of the product is good. And that's been it for the video, guys. If you thought the video was sublime, like the video. If it was subpar, still like the video. Comment down below what your thoughts of the Hypervenom are. Do you think they're still good boots? Do you think they're overrated? Do you think they're the best boots of all time? Let me know in the comment section. And like always, my name is Sub. This has been Substance Football. Thank you for watching. See you next time.